For many of you, Juice Thompson is far from a familiar name. His college career ended over 10 years ago and he played for a pretty anonymous program at the time. But still, Juice Thompson was a baller. During his 4 years at Northwestern from 2007 to 2011, the 5'10 guard started in all 129 of the team's games while averaging 13 points and 4 assists and knocking down over 40% of his threes for his career. He capped off a legendary Wildcat career by earning all Big Ten honors as a senior and left Evanston as the program's third all-time leading scorer and as the all-time leader in assists, games played, three-point percentage, and minutes played. The latter two he still holds currently. The only blight on an otherwise incredible college career though was that Northwestern simply wasn't a good team. In his 4 years, Northwestern was never able to finish above 500 in the Big Ten, and while the team did have back-to-back 20-win seasons during his junior and senior years, neither were enough to propel Northwestern to the NCAA Tournament for the first time in school history. So Juice Thompson, an all-time Northwestern great, wasn't able to fully cement his legacy simply because the program at the time needed even more juice. Home court advantage was nearly non-existent, with students known for reading books in the stands instead of watching the game. The program had no history of success to fall back on, and that NCAA tournament drought was still hanging over their head, as since 1989, Northwestern was the only major conference program without a single appearance in the Big Dance. That's right, a Big Ten school in a state with plenty of recruits hadn't made the NCAA tournament. Ever. But in the offseason of 2013, Northwestern made a hire that would change the entire trajectory of the program. After 13 years under Bill Carmody that netted them no postseason success and no seasons above 500 in the Big Ten, Northwestern decided to change course and bring in Chris Collins, a Duke player and current assistant under Mike Krzyzewski, who had grown up in the area after being a standout at Glenbrook North High School in Northbrook, Illinois, a mere 20-minute drive from Northwestern. With his local ties and impressive playing and coaching resume, the Collins hire made sense, and after 3 years of building momentum with roster continuity and dedicated local recruiting, Northwestern made its first NCAA tournament appearance in 2017, where they actually won a game thanks to Matthew Fisher-Davis not knowing to score, before ultimately bowing out to Gonzaga in the second round. The feel around the program had now changed, and while Northwestern entered next season ranked in the preseason top 25, they were unable to replicate the success of the previous year, as they struggled having to play their games at Allstate Arena in Rosemont while their normal home, Welsh Ryan Arena, was being renovated, and they also saw the regression of key guys like Bryant McIntosh as well. Collins was unable to recapture the 2017 momentum for the next 4 years after that, and he entered the 2022-23 season with an uncertain future at Northwestern. Despite not having a team projected to do much though, Collins led the Wildcats to the best season in program history, going 22-12 while finishing second in the Big Ten with notable wins over number 1 ranked Purdue, Illinois, on the road at Michigan State and Indiana twice. Northwestern earned a 7th seed in the NCAA tournament and beat Boise State in the first round before losing to UCLA in the second, and with several key contributors deciding to come back this year, it was clear that Northwestern had never been in a better position to build on its success. And so far, they've made the most of it, as they currently sit at 6-1 and 1-0 in the Big Ten with yet another win over number 1 ranked Purdue. So let's learn more about this Northwestern team, because after decades of lackluster and unenthused seasons, the Wildcats finally have the juice. Any discussion about Northwestern has to start with Boo Buie, a sturdy fifth-year senior who has emerged to become one of the best guards in America. After earning all Big Ten honors last year with a season that saw him average 17 points and 4.5 assists per game, Buie has been even better in the early part of this campaign. Through 7 games this year, the 6'2 guard is averaging 20.3 points and 4.3 assists per game, while also showing real growth when it comes to efficiency. His 47.6% field goal percentage and 40% three-point mark are both well clear of his previous career highs, and while it's early, it looks as though Buie has taken another leap as a player, as his usage rate of around 29% is generally the same as it's been during the last 2 seasons. Buie thrives as a self-creating guard who can deliver in late clock situations, and he excels at getting past defenders and then using his body to shield them off. He's also become one of the most prolific in-between scorers in the country, as he's great at reacting to what the defense allows and then countering to exploit that weakness. With such a deft touch, Buie is able to get his shot off at nearly any point in his dribble sequence, and this constantly keeps defenses off balance. Watch how he just flings this shot up at the free throw line to give Northwestern the lead against Purdue with under 5 seconds left. Buie has also improved his threat level as a shooter, becoming more dangerous above the break and in off-the-dribble situations. Having only knocked down 31% of his threes a year ago, he was still respected by defenses as a shooter, but couldn't punish them to a full extent. However, that has changed this year, as Bowie can now fully attack teams on all three levels, as in addition to his 3-point percentage increasing, his mid-range and rim efficiency numbers have also increased substantially. Before this year, Bowie was valued as a scorer based on his volume and ability to hit tough shots. And while he is still clearly the engine that spurs his Northwestern offense, and he can still obviously hit some tough shots, he's now contributing to a cleaner overall operation, as the Wildcats' offensive rating per Bart Torvik sits at 113.1, which represents about a 3-point increase from a season ago. In addition to Bowie, another guy who has really emerged for Northwestern is 6'6 junior Brooks Barnhizer. After coming off the bench last year, Barnhizer has become a lineup staple for the Cats in 2024, averaging 14 points, 8 boards, and 2.5 assists per game. While a recent cold streak has hurt his overall shooting numbers, Barnhizer is Northwestern's jack of all trades, as he can initiate offense, fight for loose balls and rebounds, and he can even create his own scoring chances thanks to a very sound post-up game and a Dirk-like fadeaway. Defensively, Barnhizer is a switchable piece who can stay in front of quicker players and muscle up against bigger ones, and he simply allows Northwestern to play a variety of styles with a variety of personnel. Despite earning a 7th seed in the tournament last year, Northwestern really struggled offensively due to an overall lack of shooting. The Wildcats shot a putrid 32% from 3 as a team, and perhaps what was worse than the percentage was just the total dearth of reliable deep threats. Among Northwestern's top 5 minute getters last year, the best shooter on the team was Robbie Barron, who only knocked down 34.5% of his attempts. When he left for Virginia Tech in the offseason, Northwestern responded by bringing in Ryan Langborg, a 6'3 guard who had just helped Princeton get to a Sweet 16, but more importantly, a career 36% 3-point shooter in his 3 years as a Tiger. While he's been off to a slower start this year from 3 despite still averaging around 12 points per game, his presence as a reliable shooter, in addition to Ty Berry's rediscovery of his shooting stroke, has helped Northwestern become an overall more viable team from deep. A 6'2 senior, Berry is currently averaging around 11 points a game and knocking down close to 42% of his threes after badly regressing as a junior last season. His ability to shoot off movement both from 3 and the mid-range has given Northwestern yet another relatively efficient scoring option for a team that lacked some of that a season ago. In fact, as a team, Northwestern is now hitting 34.5% of its threes, which of course matches Robbie Barron's starters leading number from last year. This offensive improvement is encouraging primarily because it was Northwestern's defense that won them games a season ago. Behind Chase Audee's lockdown perimeter defense that saw him net Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year honors, Northwestern finished 18th in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency. The defense has fallen off significantly this season, but in a way that's almost reason for hope, as Collins and his Northwestern core is showing that they can win in a variety of ways. And for my money, I'd bet on the defense improving as the season goes on, because I see a very connected squad on that end, anchored by big man Matthew Nicholson, who's posting a block rate of 11.2%, which is a top 20 number in the country. The more I watch Northwestern, the more I think last season wasn't a fluke. With an elite lead guard in Bowie, reliable shooters on the perimeter, a do-it-all forward in Brooks Barnhizer, legitimate size in Nicholson and emerging freshman Luke Hunger, and key depth pieces like Nick Martinelli, Blake Preston, and Jordan Clayton, Northwestern has a roster built to be viable in the Big Ten yet again, and it should yield their 2nd consecutive NCAA Tournament appearance, which would be a first in program history. So, it's taken Chris Collins a little bit longer than most would have liked, and he's had to survive a series of ups and downs. But at the moment, on the heels of yet another strong start to the season and yet another victory over number 1 ranked Purdue, the vibes of this program have never been better, and it looks like Northwestern basketball has finally set the stage for sustainable success. Thanks so much for watching, and give me your thoughts below.